Welcome to our explainer. Today we are talking all about speed. You know, the one thing that can literally make or break your website's success. We're going to decode Google's Core Web Vitals, which is basically the big exam your site has to pass if you want to win online. So let's get right into it. You know that quote? It's not an exaggeration at all. Seriously, in today's battle for attention online, speed isn't just some nice feature to have. It's a matter of survival. If your site is even a little bit slow, your visitors are already gone. They've clicked away. It's a tough question, I know, but you have to ask it. For every single fraction of a second that a user has to wait for your page to show up, you are actively, and I mean actively, risking a sale, a new subscriber, or a loyal reader. This isn't just a tech problem, it's a bottom-line business problem. Okay, so how does Google actually measure all this stuff? Well, the best way to think about it is like a health checkup for your website. Google looks at 3 very specific vital signs to figure out if your site is in good shape or if it needs some serious help. And these are the Core Web Vitals. Now, these aren't just some vague suggestions from Google. No. These are specific, measurable metrics that Google plugs directly into its ranking algorithm. And what that means for you is that a poor score can absolutely tank your site's visibility and search results. So these 3 metrics right here, LCP, FID, and CLS, they're basically the 3 pillars of a healthy site. LCP is all about loading. FID checks how interactive it is, and CLS tracks if things are jumping around on the screen. The scores might look a little technical, but the ideas behind them, super straightforward. Let's break each one down. First up, we've got LCP, which stands for Largest Contentful Paint. This is really your website's first impression. How fast does the biggest, most important piece of content load on the screen? Your goal is under 2.5 seconds. Anything slower than that, and you're really starting to test your visitors' patience. Next is FID, or First Input Delay. This one is all about responsiveness. So when someone clicks a button or a link on your site, how long does it take for the browser to actually start doing something? The goal here is under 100 milliseconds. That is literally faster than you can blink. It's the difference between a site that feels incredibly snappy and one that just feels, well, sluggish. And finally, there's CLS, or Cumulative Layout Shift. Oh man, we've all been there, right? You go to tap a button, and at the very last second, an ad loads and pushes the button down, and you tapped the wrong thing. It is so frustrating. CLS measures that exact kind of unexpected movement. A really low score means your site feels stable, solid, and predictable. Okay, so now that we know what Google is measuring, the big question is, how do we actually improve our scores? Well, here comes the practical part. This is your actionable 5-step checklist to get your site into tip-top shape. This is your game plan. Just 5 steps. If you focus on these key areas, from your images and your code all the way to your hosting, you're going to see the biggest possible boost in performance. So let's start with the most common culprit of a slow website. Step 1, you have got to tame your images. Seriously, huge unoptimized images are the #1 reason a site is slow. The key is to make them smaller without losing quality. You can do this by using modern formats like WebP, making sure you're serving the right size image for the right device, and using what's called lazy loading, so images only load as you scroll down to them. Step 2 is all about cleaning up your code. See, your site is built with files, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Minification is just a fancy word for stripping out all the junk that a browser doesn't need to read, like code comments and extra spaces. It makes those files way smaller and a whole lot faster to download. You know, all the optimization in the world isn't going to matter if your foundation is shaky, and your web hosting is that foundation. Investing in a quality host that uses fast SSD servers and has really smart caching, that's not just a nice idea, it's completely non-negotiable for a high-performance website. So how do you get your content to users all around the world super fast? You use a CDN, a content delivery network. Just imagine your website's files live on a server in New York. For a visitor in, say, Tokyo, that's a pretty long trip for the data to make. A CDN basically creates copies of your site in little mini warehouses all over the globe, so it always serves your site from the location closest to your user. It's brilliant. And finally, step 5, and this one is huge. You have to prioritize mobile. This is another non-negotiable. It's very likely that most of your traffic is coming from phones and often on much slower connections. So that means you've got to design for mobile first, not as an afterthought. Keep it lean, cut out any clunky elements, and test on actual mobile devices. All right, you've got the checklist. Now let's talk about the right tools for the job. And just as important, let's go over the common mistakes that can completely sabotage all of your hard work. And here's the best part. You do not have to guess about any of this. There are some fantastic and totally free tools out there like Google's own PageSpeed Insights and Lighthouse. You just plug in your website and they will analyze it, give you your scores, and hand you a clear, prioritized list of exactly what you need to fix.
Now, these are some of the biggest speed killers we see all the time. Please, never host your own video files. Use a service like YouTube or Vimeo. Be really careful about bloated website themes or having way too many plugins. And always make sure you're deferring code and images that aren't needed right when the page first loads. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. But let's bring it all home with the one crucial takeaway. The real reason why none of this stuff we've talked about is optional anymore. It really is that simple. Speed equals rankings. A faster website creates a better experience for your users, and Google sees that, and it directly rewards that better experience with higher search rankings. The two are completely connected.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? Page speed and core web vitals are not optional anymore. They are foundational. This isn't some passing trend. It's a fundamental shift in how the web works and how success is measured. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. In the digital race we're all in, speed is the price of admission. You now have the playbook. The only question left is your website built to win? Thanks for tuning into this explainer.